Guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to a new video. I am going to keep it short today. We are mainly going to look at BTC, and without further ado then let's start diving in. Not before I ask you to like, subscribe, click the bell, click on all so you don't miss anything. Leave me a comment, share this video with your friends if you think that's useful. Now really let's start looking at the charts. BTC USD pair on the 1 hour. This is actually where kind of the action is, and I said last week, no way that this is the low, that we just go lower, tap it, and then go a little bit higher. Now this was the action from last Friday, Saturday and Sunday night, and we just spiked up this morning. That is quite nice. I opened up a small short position somewhere around here, and it was a long time break even, and then when it went lower I moved my stop loss just underneath the entry, that whatever happened I will always go home with some profit. Then in the middle of the night I checked my phone once with one eye and I saw that I was in a lot of profit right over here. I thought, okay, great, this is probably going to be a big dump for Monday, let's just let it run. And then when I woke up I saw that the position was stopped out at where I had my stop loss, and this is a perfect example why you always need to work with a stop loss and have good risk management, because while you're asleep and this circus goes on 24/7, you can be stopped out, and I could have been stopped out at entry, but because I moved the stop loss a little bit to profit, then I still made some money. Of course not as much as I would have made here, but it's just a very nice example of why you need to have a good risk management and always use stop losses and TPs and all that kind of good stuff. Alright, on the hourly, just on the indicator, let me pull this up a little bit. It doesn't look all too sexy, to be honest. I mean, money flow is still thick in the red. Maybe within 1 or 2 hours we might print a red dot again and we could be nuking down south. On the 4 hour, same kind of story. I mean, the money flow is just absolutely terrible, but the momentum wave already curved to the upside. View up and RSIs are not very convincing, to be honest. I think actually that the pump up here was also a little bit of a short squeeze. Yes, I saw something with the tweet of Elon Musk, but the funding rate right now on the exchanges is so heavily negative, meaning that there are way more shorts than there are longs, and then you can get these short squeezes. So be very careful. This of course was our fib retracement that we have pulled up from this low to this high. Yes, we hit the golden pocket, and later on actually we kind of bounced here off the 78.6. Let me just take this off. You could also say, well, you know what, actually we also have a few bigger golden pockets ahead of us, and you can definitely trade that as a resistance. So let's say we are going higher, then we have a bigger one here at 18,900, and then all the way the one here from the top, you could say that is 19,200 to 19,400. Some people are also taking this one right here, so that is then not from the dump, but that kind of the first move up after the dump, but then you're getting this as a high. This is also very nice. I've marked it in my own charts. Then the golden pocket is a 17,600-ish. That level also has some confluence. But if I'm not mistaken, value area high from this range right here. If we are going lower on this smaller pump that we have right now, and you're noticing that I'm throwing a lot of levels at you, but I want to keep this as short and fulfilled as possible, is that if we do this and we go to the golden pocket of this retracement, that is 16,300-ish. This is also right now where we have the daily open, if I'm not mistaken, or at least a daily level. I think that's indeed it, a daily level. So that also actually will be nice. What I actually want to go to is that, let's say the broader perspective is that I'm not saying this is the bottom, but this already looks a little bit better as a potential bottom or a potential range. I'm still leaning a little bit more bearish, but when we put this one in and right away went higher, I also said it to you on the channel, no way that this was the bottom. We are probably going to retest it, maybe even, you know, if we're going down again, making an SFP and then going sideways, or maybe we are grinding lower. Everything is still possible, but at least it looks a little bit more already like a range, and that is actually good to see. Let's be honest, also when I saw this on the 4 hourly, so many red candles, I was like, this is due for a bit of a bounce for a print of a green candle. Also did not expect it would have been from top to bottom more than 5%. But that's just how you see that how volatile right now it can be. and I think if I'm not mistaken is a $100 move, if I'm not mistaken, is I think 0.6%. Let me for fun do this. $100 move. Yeah, 0.6%. So there you can see that when BTC is entering these quote-unquote lower levels, that small dollar moves already percentage-wise a pretty big move in dollars. So yeah, just be careful then a little bit with your leverage, and when you're taking profit, remember we're still kind of in a bear market / kind of crash, so you want to have this to be settled out. So be careful also with longing this. Yes, the funding rate is very negative. Yes, we may be a bit due for a bounce, but you have no idea what's coming out of the big hat with the whole FTX saga, what other parties will tip over. I do think when it comes down to that, and I'm not trading the news, but I think if you're taking these kinds of things in account, that probably the worst is over. Let's be honest, the whole FTX saga was probably the worst we have seen in the last few years in crypto. So yes, there will be more details unraveled, and maybe the amount, the financial hole that they leave behind might be bigger than we think. That's all fine, but I think the biggest bomb already kind of went off, shall we say. So therefore I think that's another news event within the FTX saga will not push us that much lower again. It will be probably maybe someone else falling over, maybe some regulations or whatever, or a big whale starts selling off. That I could imagine could push the price lower than this point, what we have seen already so far. I have not been trading so far today, although we had quite the moves already. Let me quickly zoom in here on the 15 minute. This was a very nice move, but like I said, I was asleep, so I just let this play out. I was looking at this like, well, maybe this is a bit of a bull flag, and then we are breaking higher, but now we are going lower. So the target here, if I be a little bit conservative, is I think it is into a golden pocket, so that would have been nice, but it is 17,600. But you can see now it just dropped lower again. Then I was thinking, well, okay, maybe it was a bit of a bar pattern, but also here a bar pattern never has such a crazy move to the upside, then downside. It is really up, sideways, down. So that also doesn't really qualify, but still, like I said, there is a lot of volatility. These moves up were more than 5%. This wick down was almost 2%. Only this 15-minute candle already is 0.7%, so there is quite some price action. But for me, like the real gem are the lower levels to long it, or the much higher levels like 17,600 to short it, and so far I've not really seen it. We could see though a very nice setup. Let's be honest, here on the 15 minute it looks pretty good. Money flow is coming up. Yes, we have some momentum waves here. It's maybe a little bit overbought here. That's now cooling off. But if we zoom in, let's say we do the 12 minute, then we could say this was a very nice high, and maybe then to the 17.6 to create a nice bearish divergence on the 12 minute. I will definitely take that trade if that appears, and then also of course the money flow needs to come down a little bit, but that could be a very nice trade. And then if that happens, then you probably also have something on the 7, the 6 or the 5 minute as a divergence, where you see this going on exactly, and then you have multiple time frames as well being confirmed. So that actually would be very nice. And also here on the bottom, you could say, well, here maybe we could also have a divergence, let's say, but then you're really playing it on a much lower time frame. Is that you're saying, you know what, if I want to long this, I'm just waiting till the price dip lower, and that we then have a bullish divergence on, let's say, the 1 minute or the 3 minute. That could also be nice, but then actually this then first needs to do one more time this. So you could play from both sides. Like I said, I'm staying a little bit careful now because it's a little bit of a no man's land. I want to see or higher to short or lower to long. And yeah, like I said, the bigger time frames still look pretty ugly. So in hindsight, I was actually happy now that I took most of the profits of that big short out here and then just let it ride out. So it's completely fine. DXY, this one is important now to look at. I mean, sometimes we have a quick peek, but now actually becomes quite important. This had quite the dramatic dump. Let me take this fib retracement off, that we actually broke some important support levels that of course now will flip into resistance. Yes, we are going here a little bit higher, maybe a bit of a relief, but actually we have the biggest support at approximately 105.5. with this kind of speed, I actually think that we are going to make it. Do I think that we have topped out on the DXY? Absolutely not. Way too premature to make that conclusion. Yes, of course, it could always be that we have been topped out, but there's just still so much going on in the markets. Interest rates, the Fed, inflation, crypto, you know, it's just so much going on. What could move the market? That is way too early to say. Dollar index has peaked out, and now we have a reversal, because I can definitely see another 1-2 black swans popping up in the next couple of weeks, and then before you know it, this thing is just spiking up again, and stock markets are going down. The same also goes for this big dump down. I did not expect such a good inflation numbers, because inflation is apparently coming down. That this would be such a big spike, and then also just a continuation. There's like no retrace at all in the last few days. So if you are surprised to the downside, you can also be surprised to the upside. So don't forget that, and remember what I always tell you: prices go higher than you think, lower than you expect. Higher than you think, lower than you expect. So don't be surprised for the moves. S&P 500. This one also in a very interesting level. We talked about this last week. We have the top here, the low here, and then a golden pocket. And yes, I have moved this one a few times, because first we were looking at this high, the golden pocket, from this high. We made it, then this high, and now, shall we say, kind of the quote-unquote ultimate high. This is, by the way, not the high of the year, but just from this very big trading range. This, by the way, is the S&P 500 on the 4 hour. And we have also tapped it already on the future market into the golden pocket. So who knows, maybe we tap it today and then go lower. That would be nice. We also still have this gap here at approximately 38.50 until 37.80 approximately. Usually such a big gaps sooner or later will get filled. It could take a few days, but sooner or later they will get filled. And then we also have a gap here and here. This actually could confluence with us having a bigger bearish divergence on the 4 hour for the S&P 500. So if we find some resistance here and we tap lower, then I think we also having a red dot here, and then it will be confirmed, and I expect much lower prices. Now, if we are looking at this from a macro perspective, let me just quickly zoom out to the 12 hour. I was actually looking like, so how have we been doing so far this year? Actually not that bad. I was expecting a way worse result. So far we have been going down for the entire year approximately 17%. Well, in such a heavy inflation and crisis and everything, I would have expected so far much more. Yes, we have 6 weeks left. I understand that, but I expected to finish the year maybe minus 25 or minus 30%. That would actually be very nice. So I actually hope and expect a little bit more drawdown, because if the market is going down and crypto is crashing and people losing their money and going bankrupt, it sounds horrible, but it is kind of the cleansing of the financial system. People who have bad products, services, or bad employees, weak companies, they need to be flushed out of the system so that the stronger brothers and sisters stay alive, and then you can build on from that strength to the future, and then new ideas will be born. Companies are forced to innovate, to think further, to adapt to the future, and that is kind of how you get progression, not only in the financial world, but also just in the real economy and the products and services that we use. So I think that a crash now and then, or a recession once every decade or once every 15 years, actually not such a bad idea. And if you're prepared for it and you're prepared for both scenarios, then you can even also capitalize on it. So it sounds very weird, but actually yes, I hope that the markets will go down in the next 6 weeks. If we want to go down, and therefore this is so important, this 4,000, that is the level to do it, from this top to this absolute low, golden pocket, and now retrace further down. My macro target also is that we are going to take out these lows and we are going to visit the approximately lows at 3280, 3280. That's a very big one, that's why I marked it. And then the psychological important 3000 for the S&P 500. For now, for the Bitcoin, I'm staying a little bit cautious. The time frames are all telling a little bit of a different story. Macro is still, so we say, pretty bad on the indicators. So if you are longing this, and yes, the funding rate is very negative, make sure that you stick to the charts. you have a TP, you have a stop loss, and you're taking your profits. Because before you know it, something happens again, and then whammy, we're going down, and then you're right away liquidated or in a heavy loss. That will be it for now. Please follow me also on Twitter and Instagram. Those links in the descriptions. And of course, if you like the video, then of course like, subscribe, click on the bell, click on all so you don't miss anything. Also feel free to leave me a comment or share this with your friends. Thank you guys so much. See you in the next one. Bye bye.